Welcome to Free Spirit Talks, everybody. We have an extra guest today, Nina, the puppy, who is a little bit crazy and the villain of her own life. Yes, you are a villain.
I'm giving a... If anybody wants her, I will pay you to take her. Do you want me to pay you to take her?
No, I do not want her. I don't really love dogs. I'm not a huge dog person.
She loves you.
I know. Because she knows I'm manifesting this because she knows I hate her.
Sometimes you have to learn to love all aspects of things.
Uh-huh. Am I cutting her head off right now? No, I'm rubbing her belly.
She's happy. She's happy.
So.
She's happy. No, she is the villain of her own life.
Yeah, she creates her own issues.
She does. Eating toys and stealing food and standing up on trying to get things off
and
the
licking Addison's feet.
She's like, don't put me outside, it's cold outside.
Chill. Well,
yeah, we are talking about being the villain of your own life. And I guess this was going to be her article title today.
It was.
And she's like, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. What are we talking about? And she's like, well, we could steal my article title. I may not get to the time to write the article, so how would we talk about it? I'm like, okay, so what does this mean? So what are we talking about?
So actually I was taking, because I get the beautiful privilege of taking all the courses she puts together. Because it's like, go do this, go have fun.
Can you build this page?
Can you build this page for me?
And then whatever you want in the course. And
give me a real honest opinion. So go take it.
I need the feedback.
So anyway, I'm taking one of your courses, and one of the journal prompts was about, or one of the stuff was about shadow. And while I was doing the journal prompt, I was like, sometimes I'm the villain of my own life. Like, as I was doing, chill out! Chill out! That was not a chill out energy. I just brought that interaction. But
all right, we're gonna throw it aside. Come on, you go. Come on, before you start to read.
Okay. Anyway, so I was doing this journal prompt, and so I was writing it, and in came that there's moments when I am the villain of my own life, and then I started to really think about my clients and how so often they are the villain of their own life. We like to look at ourselves and go, no, I'm the hero of my story. I'm the, I'm a good person. I'm a lovable person. And we almost like to prop ourselves up times. However, we go, oh no, I'm the hero of my story. And we can be. We very much are the heroes of our own story if we choose to be the heroes of our own story. If we realize that every hero at some point also has some villain moments.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it comes down to, and with that, going in on that, I think that it really comes down to with our light also grows our dark. That was one of the hardest concepts for me to learn. I think I just really started to grasp it about 10, 12 years ago. I did Kabbalah study, mystical Judaism and stuff, and when I got into that work and learning about the light work and learning about the shadow land, because they really go into the shadow there about faith and seeing it and realizing that these concepts of I'm going to destroy the ego is something that you cannot do as long as you're breathing, as long as you're alive. You're not going to destroy your ego. It's just like that's your ego is going to grow with you. It's there for a reason. There's things about it that you actually need. It's becoming the master of your shadow, the master of your ego, the master of your darkness, and allowing yourself to really truly witness it, see it for what it is, instead of trying to hide it or mask it. And that's but what do? We try to mask it and hide from our shadow. We all have these skeletons in the closet that we're terrified to talk about, we're shameful of, we have guilt around, and we think that for some reason that if we just throw them over there in the closet and lock the door, that's they're just going to go away. They're not going to impact our life at all. When that is exactly when they impact our life the most, because we now are not witnessing those aspects of ourselves, so we really don't know our core. We're just not embodying our full self, because we're all out here like, oh, I just want to be all light and love and peace and joy and everything's just amazing.
No,
and
that's when you have something brewing.
Oh my goodness, there's nothing wrong over here. Like, but it's like it's getting into, I think, truly standing in your power means to really let yourself like sink down into the earthy, the primal richness of who you are, because you are all of that.
Yeah,
you really are all of it.
Yeah, and you're right in that you cannot grow your light also without everyone's talking about wanting all this light. I want to experience that. I want to experience more love. I want to well, you don't get to do that unless you experience your dark, because we work as humans. We like to think that say this piece is the light, that we can just grow this piece, but that's just not how we work. We grow in increments both ways. Mm-hmm. And if you want to know more about that, like Brene Brown does a great job. And
you are also only as strong as your weakest link. So only as strong as that. I mean, if you can do all this work. I mean, here we are. We're both like yogaing it up and everything, like refocused.
Hence why
on yoga
we are in yoga clothes right now.
And the focus there is all about balance. I'm not a balanced person. I'm a harmony person, and I love that the teachers are always saying that there's no such thing as 100% alignment. That both sides of the body are different. If we ignore the right side of the body and we only strengthen the left side of the body, how strong are we? We're not really strong at all. How flexible to life are we? Everything better happen on this side, because if it doesn't happen on this side, I'm completely screwed, because this side I have not prepared. This side I have not paid attention to. This side I have not dove into. I have not strength trained. I haven't witnessed. I haven't really embodied this side. I've just ignored that piece of myself. And if we do it physically and we understand, well, if I just strength train this arm's still going to be weak, right? Well, maybe, do I want this arm weak? But that's the way we look at our shadows, is that we look at it as though like, oh no, I should just strengthen my light and I should ignore the shadow, and that'll weaken it. But the difference is that this becomes a hungry, ravenous beast that when we don't pay any attention to it, much like any hungry, ravenous beast, is going to figure out a way to break free and to get fed. And that kind of stuff is normally a lot more detrimental to someone's life, which is where the villain comes in. We get that Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, because we have ignored this beast that we are just like, well, I'm going to kill it by ignoring it. And it's like, I'm going to creep up on you.
How I like to look at the shadow is like, if you're ignoring it, you start shake. It's like a soda bottle, and you're shaking that soda bottle, and you're shaking it, and you're shaking it, and you're shaking it. But you're going, I'm not going to pay attention. I'm not going to open it up. I'm not going to open it up. But the more you go, I'm not going to open it up, and continue to shake, like, it's going to blow. And it's going to blow big, and you're not going to have any control over it at that point. Versus if you're just like, okay, I'm going to open it up here. Okay, I'm going to open it up again. Okay, let me go slow in. Let me open and see. The explosion is not really going to be an explosion. It might be a little bit of, like, get that, like, little, like, but it's not going to be this huge explosion versus that explosion that will change your whole life, that could really truly ruin everything you've built and you've created.
A volcano erupts every single day. There is one volcano that erupts every single day in Hawaii, on the big island there, and the island is full of life. It's growing. It has tons of life. It has tons of vegetation. The people are happy and safe and everything, and it spews off a little bit every single day. Now, there are other volcanoes, like a super volcano, also known as Yosemite, right? that is overdue by like 60 million years or something like that. It's some stupid amount of time that is maybe it's only 60,000. I don't know. Anyways, used to know those numbers. But it is way overdue. And there is beautiful growth there, and it is this magical, beautiful space on our world. But it is also sitting, and that's just on the surface. There's a lot of shifting and everything, and there's a lot right now. There's a lot of changes going on within the environment where different animals are starting to clear certain areas and all that kind of stuff. Because it is inevitable.
Eventually it will.
It is inevitable. Someday Yosemite will blow. And when Yosemite does blow, because it is a super volcano, it will wipe out the whole total northern hemisphere, Canada, United States, Europe, everything gone. Anything north of the equator will be gone. It will completely change our world. But there it is. It's just sitting there.
So live a pig. I know.
She's like,
I'm like,
yay!
Wow, we went dark.
We went dark. But welcome to the. On the outside, though, it's lush green forests and beautiful vegetation. What is better to have like these little like little spurts
of
off
energy
and have that consistency and just get good with, hey, I'm going to release a little bit here. I call it the feeding of the ego. I'm like, my statement, breadcrumbs, like consistently give you the ego a little bit of breadcrumbs so that you're not ignoring it. You say, I see you. I see you, so that it doesn't blow like Yosemite will one day and wipe out your whole fucking world. Whole world.
It's okay. We don't have to do this. We can cuss now.
I always try to be clean.
We try to be clean, but it doesn't work because we're us. We're us.
It's a proper look.
It is. So if you look at any like villains in storybooks or even just in real life, like we like to look at history and go, oh, that was a villain. That was a bad person. Well, in truth, that person also, there was light. And I mean, and I know.
Oh my gosh, the movie Joker that's out, right? Like I went and saw Joker and yeah,
it's
and
like your kiddos.
And it's dark and but at the same time I think that like he's a beautiful villain. Like he really is. Because the whole backstory of it is that he actually wanted good. He really had this struggle. He was really trying to be supportive to people that he loved. All this kind of stuff. And then all the chaos that happened internally from the external and not that understanding, and him trying to hold and contain and present front, so which ended up the shadow grew to the point in that ignoring of the shadow, it created the Joker. That whole mindset, and that really is. I mean, that's that Jekyll and Hyde that happens there. And I know that anytime you hear somebody say, "Oh, I had a blackout," "Oh, that was just the alcohol," that's not really how I felt. I got drunk. I was high. I was, like all these different things.
I was hormonal.
I was this. No, that is just
stress.
I'm like, no, the filter just got took out. That's it. We all have these awesome that allow us to not speak and do some of the things that we are actually really feeling. And we, depending on how strong that filter is and how much in control of that filter is, and also just our emotional, mental maturity around things, spiritual maturity around things, that shows the filter. And then when we just have that filter taken out with something like drugs, alcohol, hormones for sometimes like that, different things, all of a sudden the truth comes out. It really is. It's like that's where the truth is, but that's where that shadow, if not dealt with, it will take over. And then once you get out, once it is running around ravenous like that,
much harder to.
It now is that ravenous beast, and it's running amok, and it does so much damage that sometimes some of that damage
can never be repaired.
Yeah, it's just stuff that.
Unfortunately, there's things that can never be repaired. Once the rock, you can never take the rock back once it's thrown. But the problem being, if you just allowed yourself to step in initially, then you never would have had to Oh, she's messing with it.
Hold on. There we go.
So yeah, if you know, you may not have broken something if you had just allowed that at first. And I think it just, I had a thought. It went out of my head. I think that I have a thought and it went out.
It's important, in my opinion, to say, you know, like when I am really hormonal and stuff, and I can feel like my shadow is like coming up, I'm edgy. I will get up in the morning and I'm like, I'm feeling edgy. I'm feeling pissy. I'm just feeling like, I'm like, ooh. And I will hit the kitchen, and whoever is around me, I'll say, boom, here's where I am at. Just FYI, I'm feeling, and I rattle off whatever it is. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling very scattered today. I'm feeling anxiety today. I'm feeling blah, blah, blah. And I own it. So I let everybody around me know, hey, this is kind of like, if you're feeling this from me, please don't go and say, what's wrong?
That's just going to upset her more.
That's like not a good thing.
That's going to upset her more.
Don't ask me what's wrong. Like, are you okay?
Are you okay? It's a bad question to ask, Kendall.
Especially when I'm like, I'm feeling
when she's not okay.
I'm feeling this. Don't say what's wrong. Like, I'm like, I just told you I'm just not feeling it. Just let me be. Just let me be. Unless you want to fight. I'm like, but it is, I mean, but it is that knowing. And then there is that statement of like, the reason why she knows that is because we've had multiple conversations and learning for both sides of that expression.
And that's actually what I was going into, is really the relational aspect of this, because you have to be able to accept somebody else's shadow. If you can't accept somebody else's shadow, you're also not accepting your own shadow. And the deeper you get into a relationship with people, the more you're going to see their shadow. And you want to see their shadow, because that's, our shadows can be, I don't want to say the word beautiful, because but they're so beautiful in the amount of learning and vulnerability to you. And you want relationships in your life that can handle your shadow. If they can't handle your shadow, and there's that statement like, if you can't handle my shadow, you don't deserve my light. And I actually kind of believe that. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not to say you have a right to be like, oh, well, like, if you can't handle, like, all my crazy.
You're always raging and crazy.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. But, like, if you can't handle a little bit of my shadow, a little bit of that piece that isn't always healed and isn't always perfect, light and shiny and perfect, then you don't deserve the light and shiny, not perfect, but, you know, those gorgeous
because
pieces.
Then the relationship, the love, the compassion is fake. It's not unconditional. It's not authentic. You're just wanting the pieces that serve you best, that make you feel good, and you're not willing to allow somebody else to just be whoever they are, showing up however they are. I mean, as parents, anybody who's a parent, you don't get to, we might want our children to always be like this, but the reality is even the best child on the planet is still going to have a down moment, a down day, where they are more reactive, where they don't listen, where they talk back, where they don't do everything right. We all have sick days. We all have those days where we are weaker in some fashion or form. And if we're not willing to hold space for somebody in that, then there's not really authentic connection, love, compassion,
and it
friendship.
Creates, you brought up children. Actually, I kind of flashed back to the years of being a eating disorder therapist, because I work with kids all the time, and that is actually one of the biggest issues, is these kids were never able to be in their shadow at all. They had to be like freaking perfect, and they always were perfect.
Must be part of this.
Even if they were having all this turmoil underneath, they had to be perfect. Their families were not willing to accept their shadow, to the point that they ended up blowing to the point that it was an internal blow of slowly killing themselves. That our shadows will get out one way or the other, even if it's not a verbal, like, I'm gonna blow up the world towards you. And I used to tell my clients all the time, like, I don't speak eating disorder. Sorry, I don't speak eating disorder, because they would purge at me. They would restrict their food at me. They would be angry with me because I would have asked them to do something or at the table or whatever we were doing. And I'd be like, sorry, I don't speak eating disorder, like you can't restrict your food at me. You can't, like, and that was their shadow. That was their rebellion, but it was so underneath. And so we all have that piece as that was like severe mental health issues, but we all have that. And so it will come out passively, or you can just freaking own it and go, here's where I'm at. Like you walk it, like there's been many a times I've been in her kitchen getting a cup of coffee and she's like, I'm hormonal, I'm in a mood. And the same thing, there's times I'll be like, I'm just in a bad mood today. And so no matter, like, if I snap, it's not meant at you, yet I have to check myself.
Right. It's like, and it's, it's, are you feeling sensitive? Are you feeling moody? Are you feeling upset? Are you feeling like, if you own it, it doesn't have as much control over you, and you don't give it the space to rule your moment, your day, your week, your month, your year. Because like one little release of that villain, when you just let it out, can really destroy your life. Like what the title is, right? It's like
it really
are the villains of our lives, and it is because we're not owning our darkness. We're not owning our moods. We have been programmed to believe that this is the only mood that is acceptable and okay, and that this is healthy. But we are human beings, and we are designed to have good and high level energy and moods and emotion, and we're designed to experience the low as well. And you don't, much like the whole, if you can't handle my darkness, then you don't deserve my light. Well, that right there is just like, that's some depiction of like, well, you can't have anything then. And so we're just taught to just be like this. But this right here also prevents us from having our happiness. We don't even know who we are. We don't know what we desire. We don't know what we want. We don't know what. Allow ourselves to experience the dark, and in the lack of the experience of the dark, we never truly experience the light. We might think, oh yeah, I'm happy, but how many times have you said, oh, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. Like, does that sound like I'm doing great? I'm doing great. Is that's really the energy, the tone of great? I'm doing great.
Doing great.
I'm doing great. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm doing great. You positive? Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm fine.
That's not great.
You sound like you're kind of indifferent to life right there.
That sounds meh.
Yeah.
That sounds meh.
Let's own that we're meh. I'm just meh today. Oh no, I need to be presenting that I'm great. Well then, if you're gonna be great, be great.
Like, I'm great. I have so much going on. Like, that's amazing.
I always think Tom Hopkins. Back to sales we go. Like, if you really don't want to say that I'm like, oh, I'm really upset today, I'm really grumpy, I'm really da-da-da, it's going, I'm unbelievable. I am unbelievable today. I'm unbelievably emotional, I'm unbelievably angry, I'm unbelievably
truthful, authentic
I'm unbelievable. Like, if I don't want to get into it, I'm unbelievable. Or, I'm great, I'm wonderful. Man, I am so full of gratitude today. Man, I'm really...
Today's a challenging... Today's a day of growth for me. Like, sometimes I'll be like, today's a day of growth for me.
I said yesterday or the day before, I said, I am so full of anxiety and I have no reason for it. Must be hormones, but I'm feeling anxiety. On that same note, I also must have anxiety that I am not acknowledging, that I am not willing to look at for whatever reason that is in that moment. And that was my own awareness of like, hey, I must have some anxiety going on about something. Where is that coming from? So then go in and do that internal work. But it is just that owning, because our shadows, our villains, they're good at putting on masks and making us think that we got it all.
And I would even say sometimes, like, I'm in my light. Actually, that is our shadow trying to prop ourselves up, because I love you all. You're not that special. You're not that unique. And the more you go, oh, I'm such a good person. I wrote an article about this the other day, so go check it out. I'm such a good person. I'm so kind. Oh, I'm so compassionate. I'm so loving. I'm like, that's shadow. That's shadow work.
Yeah.
That's shadow stuff. And so it's okay. So, like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm I'm a good person. You know, we all need that. We all need the affirmation.
That's the feeding of the ego.
We
like
all.
If you're running around and you toss $20 to, you know, a homeless person, and then you no sooner get out of the car and you go, oh my God, I would have been here sooner, but I stopped to give this homeless person $20. That right there is, please pat me on the back. I need the recognition for you to know that I'm such a charitable, such a good person, that I'm running a little bit late because I stopped, went out of my way. Oh my God. I had to like pull over and do this. And it was, he was like,
I only had $20 in my purse.
I only had $20. It was like, whew, it was a stretch. Like,
I'm not going to be able to get Starbucks.
I'm going to be able to get Starbucks now. Like, oh my God. Right. Like, that is that needing approval. Like, pay attention to me, pat me on the back, give me the recognition, which is actually the shadow coming out and feeding its a person go, oh yeah, I'm this, but that's not really an act of giving. What you've done in that moment, if you've actually the energy of sharing, of giving that you did do with somebody, you have now stolen the growth, stolen the light, and fed it to the because you could not hold the energy of sharing and just keep your mouth quiet and not do the internal pat on the head too, where you're like, yeah, I'm just so good, yeah, I did that, and where you just keep reminiscing about your good deeds, because that's energy of the light as well.
But we all need the pats on the head too. Do not pat me on the head. I see this coming. Like, do not pat me on the head. Otherwise, you will see my shadow on Facebook. But I think there is, like, we all do need that pat in the head. And so sometimes it is just owning it. Like, and I say that to her because we had a moment the other day and I was like, you know, I'm really just needing a pat on the head here. And so I was needing some affirmation. And she literally patted me on the head, and I was like, not what I was needing. But I think it's better to at least own it and go like, yeah, I'm in my ego right now, and I do need, like owning, it's better to just internally go, yeah, like I am needing some external affirmation right now. What is that? What is about that I'm craving? Why am I dipping into the shadow piece of self right now? What am I not feeding self? Where am I needing to do that work? So,
because we're always looking for feeding the void that we're not feeling.
So,
yeah, we're just feel incomplete in some way, feel some sort of void, emptiness, lostness. And what it is, it always comes back to that we've just basically disembodied ourselves in some fashion or form.
Yeah.
And so we get hungry.
Yeah.
That little beast inside of us gets hungry. So,
well, we have to go feed
ourselves. There's a massive storm going outside. I was letting the dog
I know,
out,
I'm like watching.
It was like, I looked, I was like, is there really this looks like a tornado coming, because all of a sudden, all the leaves, it was this, I almost grabbed the phone and I was like, you guys got to see this.
We're supposed to have a 30-degree drop in weather today.
I'm in yoga shorts too. I'm like,
I
what
know.
am I thinking?
But we're going to like super duper hot yoga today, which is about where we're headed off right after we get this video completed.
Yeah.
So, is there anything going on that you want to share? Anything before we pop off of here?
I have the global event with Dr. Michael Harris, Unwhelm. Oh my goodness.
The holidays.
I just like lost my title. There went the title. Anyways, yeah, it's all about unwhelming the holidays. We're teaching to bring into this joyful time of the year instead of living it in stress and frustration and letting your inner villain come out to play at some of the most joyous spots of the season. And I can tell you, like, I know that's, and I say this all the time, I'm like, November and December are a high client time of the year. And it is come out to play so well during this time of the year because we get overwhelmed. We are full of anxiety. We're full of blame and guilt and jealousy and frustration and financial stress. And it just like goes stir crazy. And next thing we know, we have these little spout offs. And we're also wanting these pats on the back of like, well, my present was good, or I made the best meal here, or isn't my house the whatever, you know, like, and we do all this kind of stuff, and we think that we should have all this recognition, and we aren't doing our own inner work and self-love practices that we need to. So yeah, so Unwell in the Holidays is my event that I'm going to focus on for this brief moment in time.
And I have food, sex, and money coming up on November 22nd. It's an online global course as well. We have lots of in DFW events going on, so just check either of our pages out. But sex, money, because guess what? Right now, that's where our focus is this holiday season.
That.
Well, then you are not stepping into your deeper naughty desires, which is another topic. But it's all the same energy. If we can really work, we need to look at how we work with all of these things together, because how we eat is how we sex. How we sex is how we deal with our money. How we deal with our money is how we eat. It is one big circle.
The energy is the same. The programs, the shame, the guilt, the belief structures that we hold around one of those is typically found in different facets in the other areas as well.
And so I'm running that, and you get the entire program I ran last time. You get all those videos plus all the new stuff. So you can find that on my page, addisonbell.net and
kendallwilliams.com.
Other than that, we will see you in 2 weeks for another one of these lovely little chats.
And I will be just coming back from
Disney.
Yeah, I got Disney and...
No, you won't be. You'll be a week back.
Is it Thanksgiving week that we're doing?
Yeah.
I'm not going to Tahoe, so I guess I'll be local. I'm going to Disney instead. Oh. Pat me on the back for planning.
Bring me a frozen cup.
Pat me. Aren't I the best mommy ever? She did. Yeah, I'm like the best mom
She's
ever.
Gonna bring. I'm the best bird Addison ever.
Yes.
So she's gonna bring me a cup back.
I'm bringing you back Mickey ears.
I don't want Mickey ears.
All right, a cup. A cup?
A mug.
A mug.
Okay. A mug. So, all right.
Okay, fine. A mug.
Well,
we've decided. You guys have helped.
A mug.
She's getting
or a T-shirt.
A Disney World or a
T-shirt.
T-shirt. Not a Lego set. Not Mickey Mouse ears. Not one of those swirly light things.
Bring me a queen wand.
How about I can bring back? There's these like cherry and lemon.
I love that we're like
only get at Disney. Well, at Disneyland, that's the only place you can get them. So I'm sure the Disney World has them too. I can look for them. The cherry, and I don't like cherry candy, but they're really cool.
I love how we are negotiating my present on Free Paradox. So yeah. All right, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks. Whenever that is, we'll let you know.